Hello everyone, and now you're tuning in to an episode of Inside the Fight. Hello everyone, and welcome to Inside the Fight with Ricardo Vera. And with today's episode, we have some news coming from the MMA boxing world. Also, we have an interview with UFC fighter Rich Antonito, and we have an instruction on how to do the triangle choke, which many of you could learn. We have news from the boxing world. This past Saturday, there was a huge fight going on in Los Angeles, California, as Sugar Shane Mosley and Sergio Mora unfortunately battled to a draw. There was not that much action in the first half of the fight, as Mora refused to engage in any of the exchanges with Mosley. However, the fight became more competitive after Mora slowed down and stood his ground more against Mosley in the later rounds. And it was kind of an ugly fight, according to many observers. And the scores were 115-113 for Mora, 116-112 for Mosley, and 14-14 in favor of a draw. What a sad fight. It could have been way more better than what it really was. And in other news, after months of heated exchanges between these two fighters, they're finally going to meet in the ring. Amir Khan is set to face Marcos Maidana in December 11th for the 140-pound World Championship at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it will be on HBO, which I cannot wait for this fight because these are two junior welterweights that really are entertaining. So we can't wait to see that fight. And also, news is shaping up from the undercard of the mega fight between Manny Pacquiao and Antonio Margarito, as it looks like former contender star Brian Vera is the new frontrunner to face Kelly Pavlik on the undercard on November 13th in Dallas, Texas, which is looking to be a great card supporting into a fight that practically might not mean that much, but it still will be a good pay-per-view to buy, personally for me. So, and also in news coming from the MMA world, since the news leaked that Chael Sonnen tested positive for a banned substance and is possibly facing a year-long suspension, Dana White announced that Vitor Belfort would instead challenge Anderson Silva for the UFC middleweight championship. Belfort withdrawn on Tuesday from his scheduled main event with Yushin Okami at UFC 122 in November. No official date was announced, but all signs point to a Silva-Belfort showdown in early 2011, as soon as New Year's Day. And meanwhile, Okami will remain atop on UFC 122, where he will lock horns with former middleweight king of prankers, Nate Marquardt, in the headliner. According to White, the winner of that fight will move into position to face the winner of Silva versus Belfort. And news coming from Tokyo, Japan. Officials from Fighting and Entertainment Group and World Victory Road held a last-minute press conference on Wednesday to announce in Manoa Man versus Satoshi Ishii open weight bout for Dream 16 set for Saturday in Japan, which will be aired hopefully on HD Next. That's kind of like, you can characterize as a freak show, but it's still an entertaining fight. Manoa Man's an entertaining fighter, and Ishii is still kind of a novice in MMA, but this is kind of a big fight for both fighters. And also, we have a big fight card coming from this Saturday in the UFC. We have a good main card. First fight, we have Jeremy Stephens versus Melvin Guillard, which personally I see that it's a competitive fight, but personally I see Melvin Guillard taking a TKO or a stoppage or a knockout. Then we have Evan Dunham versus Sean Sherk, which is going to be a good wrestling battle, and it can go either way. Sean Sherk's a battle-tested veteran going against the young Dunham, but Dunham has proven in his last couple of fights that he is durable and he comes to fight. So personally, my predictions are, I'm predicting Dunham by decision, most likely. I like Sherk, but I don't know. Dunham's rising up there. He has a really good, solid chance. And the next fight, we have Matt the Terra Serra versus Chris the Lights Out Lytle, which this is a rematch from the Ultimate Fighter finale, which Matt Serra won and end up winning the welterweight championship with that title shot. But however, this is going to be a different fight now, which both guys have been very improving, which Matt Serra has knockout power all of a sudden, and Chris Lytle has been racking up a couple wins ever since that fight. So if I was to go for a fighter, I have to go for Matt Serra. But he might dominate this fight, unfortunately for Lytle. So, yeah, but we're treated to a good fight. And then the co-main event, we have Antonio Rogerio Nogueira going up against Ryan Bader, which might end up being Ryan Bader's coming out party. Rogerio Nogueira's, he's been up there, but ever since his last fight, with what we've seen from him, hopefully he can bounce back from that performance. And this is the guy to do it. But Ryan Bader's coming to fight, and what he has shown in his past couple fights that he is a promising light heavyweight. And this fight, the winner can end up going up against Johnny Bones Jones, which that's also guaranteed another good fight. So either man, they better come to fight because they have John Jones in the wings waiting for them. However, my prediction is I'm gonna go with Ryan Bader. I like Rogerio Nogueira, he's a good fighter, but if I'm banking on what I've seen last from him, I'll go with Ryan Bader. And in the main event, we have former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir going up against Pride legend Mirko Cro Cop, which could be, this fight can go either way. Personally, if this fight was to go to the ground, I have to go with Frank Mir, but I still have a soft spot for Cro Cop, and if the Cro Cop from Pride shows up, it might be a short night for Frank Mir. However, if I was to pick a winner of this fight, I'm kind of leaning towards Frank. Recently, performances, I'm leaning towards Frank Mir. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cro Cop was managed to pull this out. And like, let me put this mention out here. Like, another interesting fight, and unfortunately this is on the prelims. We have a former Pride legend making his UFC debut in Mark Hunt versus underground poster Sean McCorkle, which is good. It's a good fight. McCorkle's undefeated, but he's also making his UFC debut against a guy who's very known in the K1 world and the MMA world. This is guaranteed fireworks. I don't know who could win this fight, but this is guaranteed a very good fight for us to see. Hopefully this fight gets shown during the pay-per-view. And this is Inside the Fight with news. We have to go to a commercial break, but when we come back, we have an interview with UFC fighter Rich Antonito. So stay tuned.